Right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We were taking Kitab al-Zakah, Zakat al-Zuru' wal-Thimar. Babu Zakat al-Zuru'i wal-Thimar. We were taking Zakah when it comes to crops and when it comes to fruit. Umar, let's break down the masail we've taken so far. We said that when it comes to this chapter, we said that in the Hanafi madhab, after they give you the general rules of Zakah, they mentioned that there's a few exceptions when it comes to this bab. One of them is
exception of 1 year passes.
one of them is what they call hawalan al-hawl. So here you don't wait for the year to pass. Rather, when you harvest, it's okay. When you harvest, then you pay your zakah. Second is a taklif, or what they call al-mulugh wal-aql, and they it doesn't apply. So even if a mad person or a child has a farm that's growing, and zakah is compulsory upon that produce. After that, we mentioned that generally in this chapter, you've got a difference of opinion between the Imam Abu Hanifa, and between his two students. Imam Abu Hanifa is of the opinion that you pay zakah on everything, and whether it's a little or a lot. The two students' opinion is that you pay zakah on that which is able to remain or survive for the year without being treated. So that would then exclude things like vegetables or fruits that go bad quickly. A second is when it comes to nisab. Imam Abu Hanifa doesn't look at any threshold here. Rather, he says whatever is little and whatever is a lot. Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad, they say that there is a threshold. That threshold is what, Ibrahim?
Threshold from the plants is 5 wasaq.
خمسة أوسق. أحسن. So whatever is measured with a wasaq or a sa', then that is you count 5 awsuq, which is 300 sa', and that becomes your threshold. Okay, then Saeed was asking a question. When we took the mas'ala yesterday, we said that which is not measured in a sa', for example. So Imam Abu Yusuf is of the opinion that you look at the equivalent of what you are able to measure in a sa', the least amount. So for example, let's say in that sa', for example, you've got something very cheap, let's say barley, and 5 awsuq of barley, which is 300 sa'. What's its value in monetary terms? So let's say it's equivalent to $500, for example. So he says, okay, so when it comes to this thing here that's not weighed with a sa', not measured with a sa', we would say that whatever is equivalent to $500, so if your cotton is equivalent to $500, or your maize is equivalent to $500, etc., you would pay zakah on it. So that's his opinion. You look here at the things which are measured with this sa', where there's a nas, etc., and then you see the least amount. So you value these items that you're able to measure. You look at the least amount, and then you go to this where you're unable to measure, and you see, is it equivalent in value or not? If it's equivalent or more, you would pay zakah. If it's not equivalent or it's less, you wouldn't pay zakah because you wouldn't have reached the threshold. Imam Muhammad, he does have a few other opinions here, but we've left them out on purpose. Imam Muhammad ibn al-Hasan says that whatever this item you're measuring, whatever unit it has, you would say 5 of those units. So for example, they give the example of ahmal and amnan, etc. And I explained that to you yesterday. These are your main masail when it comes to setting your foundation in Zuru' wa Thimar. Then it comes to how much zakah does a person pay. We said this is generally according to the water. So if a person is just benefiting from water naturally, i.e. they're not putting in any effort to get that water to their field or to their crops or to their plants, they would pay 1/10. 1/10 of what? 1/10 of this whole value. So for example, let's say this is your field, okay? And you harvested from this field 500 sa', okay? 500 sa'. You would pay 1/10 of 500, which is 50 sa'. Not to say that no, 500 and a little bit, no. This, when it comes to, when we were talking about the threshold is only a nisab value. You would pay zakah on the whole thing. So for example, to make it easy, when you have money in your pocket, let's say the nisab of gold is $10,000 and you've got 11,000. Do you say that, okay, let me minus the 10,000 and then only pay zakah on 1,000? No, you pay zakah on everything since you above the threshold. So you would pay 2.5% of $11,000. You would give that into charity. So same when it comes to here, from your produce, if you're putting no effort to get your water to your fields or your crops, 1/10. If you are putting effort, you yourself are going to fetch the water, you've got some sort of machinery, some animals, etc. You're using for watering specifically, then you would go down to 1/20th. So 1/20th is less than 1/10. And these are your main masail. And you'll find when you take the other madhahib, then they have a difference of opinion as to what actually, what do you pay zakah on and what don't you pay zakah on. There's a slight difference. And generally the 1/10 and the 1/20th is quite, what they call, is quite consistent throughout. When you read through the books of zakah, you would find that at times they speak about al-ard, al-ushriyah, or that which you take 1/10 from. So these are generally your farmlands. This is the whole chapter we're talking about, where you're paying 1/10 and 1/20th. Okay. Now there's other pieces of land which are called al-ard al-kharajiyah, where you give kharaj. Kharaj, there's different types of kharaj, but basically what it is when, let's say, for example, at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they went and then the Muslims took over Khaybar, they agreed with the people of Khaybar that the land, they could stay on the land, okay, and they could remain with the crops, etc., but they would pay a certain tax on it. What's the certain tax? From the produce. So generally your kharaj is land that whoever's ruling has agreed with those people who've been given the land that you will pay like a certain tax on it. And that could include whether they grow or they don't grow, whether they have produce or they don't have produce. It doesn't, and it's not capped at 1/10. It could be half and half, for example. So when you read a difference between al-ushr and kharaj, generally that's the difference. Kharaj is more like a tax that the people on those lands are paying, and ushr is to do with zakah. Any questions with what we've taken so far? Because this, we've left a few masail which are very intricate, but like this, you've taken, you know what you have to pay zakah on when it comes to crops, and you know how much you have to pay zakah, and that's about it. Any questions when it comes to this?
Kharaj is similarly like rent.
No. You could say, but it's not rent. If you're going to say rent comes under ijara. Kharaj is generally where you've got, for example, as I mentioned, at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they took over certain pieces of land, so there's new rulership in the land. The Muslims now rule the land. The ruler decides what happens to the land. Okay. And one of the things they can do is they agree with the people who are there that you will pay. It's like jizya. It's like jizya. And generally, these are agreements with non-Muslims, and ushr and nisf al-ushr is to do with Muslims, to do with zakah. But it is possible for this kharaj to be in the hands of a Muslim. And then inshallah, you'll find when we come back, we'll take some revision, and after that we'll take gold and silver and paper money. Yes?
I have a question. I thought taxes were like disliked.
No, I said it's like a tax. I never say it's tax.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So okay, if you don't want to use the word tax, this is an agreement with the ruler and those who are on the lands. And generally it's non-Muslims, because non-Muslims don't pay zakah. To say that, okay, no problem, the land belongs to us, or this land is now under our ownership, but you can remain on that land on condition you pay towards it, because these are fertile lands, these are lands that give.
So it only applies for lands that's fertile. So like
No. No, not only lands which are fertile, but generally when they speak about it, they speak where you might have land that you wouldn't consider fertile, but it still grows certain crops and certain things. It may not be the best of crops, but they still grow. It's a very big, the scope for agreement here is very big, because it depends on what they agree on. It depends on what they agree on. This is taken from the Messenger ﷺ with people of Khaybar at the time, who are non-Muslims, when the Muslims conquered Khaybar, and Khaybar was full of date palms, etc. And there was no, even though the land came under the ownership of the Muslims, there was no point in kicking out those people, because as some of the Sahaba told the Messenger ﷺ, that these are people who know about the land. They know how to grow. It's rather we keep them on this land and we'll take something from them. And speaking about tax, you had mentioned, yes, generally the tax, especially the tax we have, is you would say is disliked, some say is even haram, but they have something in the books of zakah. Hanafi madhab later on mentioned it, where it's called al-ashir or al-ushur, where they would take 1/10. So a person would literally pay like a tax, and depending on who they were, they would pay it, and inshallah you'll take that. But generally, as you rightfully pointed out, Islamically, your zakah is what's compulsory upon you. Anything extra is sadaqah, and you're not supposed to take taxes as how it is today.
One more thing, that let's say, for example, if you own the land and I'm living on your land and I'm paying you some haraj, then is it your responsibility to take care of my I must not get harmed? Is it come under your responsibility?
Yes. So those are all masail of jizya, where non-Muslims, for example, they want to live in a Muslim country and a Muslim empire. They pay this jizya, they pay this kharaj, etc. And for them in return also is protection. They're not supposed to be harmed. Their wealth is not supposed to be taken. Supposed to be treated justly, etc. Yes. Correct. There's one, two questions I'll ask you guys, inshallah. This is Arabiya بين يديك, book 1. As far as I know, what we've taken so far is practice with introducing yourself, introducing others. طيب, إبراهيم, السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
كيف حالك؟
بخير. الحمد لله.
ما اسمك؟
أنا أمريكا.
ما اسمك؟
ما اسمك؟ أنا من أمريكا.
سعيد، ما اسمك؟
اسمي سعيد.
هل أنت مدرس سعيد؟ Say no, I'm a student.
أنا طالب.
لا، أنا طالب, for example.
لا، أنا طالب.
أحسن. طيب سعيد، من أين أنت؟
من أنا من هولندا.
أين تسكن؟
أنا هولندية.
أين تسكن؟
That would be asking what's my origin, right?
No. عمر أين تسكن? Where do you live?
Yeah. I live in India.
In
أسكن
Arabic. أسكن
أسكن في الهند.
طيب سعيد أين تدرس؟ ها؟
Don't remember that one.
أين تدرس is like where do you learn? So أدرس في I learn in the university في الجامعة. أدرس في الجامعة. I learn in the university. You with us?
No.
أين تدرس? Where do you learn? You say أدرس في الجامعة. I learn in the university. وأدرس في المدرسة. I learn in the school. We are stopped here. These again are a lot of listening exercises and reading exercises. He's saying here, Ibrahim, read the first line and translate for me.
أنا أنت.
No, translate also.
Oh, أنا means I. Anta means you, masculine. Anti means you, feminine. Huwa means he.
Next line, Saeed.
Next line. Here. That would mean she.
أحسنت.
Then طالب, that would mean a student.
أحسنت.
Then a مدرس, that would mean a teacher or an engineer.
مدرس. Hold on.
مدرس, a teacher.
Yeah.
And then a طبيبة too, which means a female doctor.
أحسنت. عمر, last line.
مهندسة female engineer. هذا من this referring to male, pointing to male. هذه pointing towards female.
أحسنت. They say ضع علامة الصح أمام الكلمة المطابقة. So they want you to find the same exact one. So هو, there's هو. طبيبة, you've got طبيبة. So these are looking, reading, and writing exercises. Again, you've got writing exercises, reading exercises. أخ, أخ, the odd one, out. Next one, you've got, again, find the wrong one, okay, the wrong one. So you've got here أنا طالب, أنا طالبة, أنا طالبة, the odd one out, okay. And then you've got these ones, صل بين الكلمتين المتماثلتين. طيب خيبر, start off. أنت. Okay, no, but it's actually quite simple. They're teaching you how to read. They're saying anta and find the exact same one. So you've got here anta. As-salamu, you've got as-salamu. Ma'a, you've got ma'a. طيب انظر واستمع واقرأ. Ibrahim, first line and translate.
First
I'm
line.
going to ask you what they're trying to teach you in this exercise after they finish reading.
Huwa talib means he is student. Yeah, taliba, that means she is a student. Huwa mudaras.
Not mudarras, mudarris. كسر.
Huwa mudarris. He is an engineer.
Mudarris. Does he look like an engineer?
I mean a teacher.
أحسنت. عمر, next line.
هي مدرسة. She is a teacher. أنا تركي. I'm Turkish. And I'm in Syria. I am from Syria. أنا مهندس.
Saeed last line.
Yes. أنا مهندس. I'm an engineer. Second one, أنا من Pakistani. أنا من Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan. The third one, هي مصرية. She's from Egyptian.
Ahsant. Khaybar, tell us about this exercise. What they're trying to tell the students.
Every vocab, every noun, for example, طالبة, they tell you the feminine, and they use and you introduce your pronouns such as huwa, hiya, ana.
Ahsant. So they're trying to teach you the difference between masculine and feminine. Feminine, you find they're generally adding one ta here, round ta at the end. Also, you've got different pronouns for different people. So huwa for he, hiya for she, huwa, he, hiya, she, etc. Excellent, well done. And you've got a writing exercise. I would suggest you download the book. Remind me to send you another writing book if you want to write. Teach you how to use your pen. So you go this way, you go this way, you go up to down. And then they're starting you off with a lam. Same when it comes here. These are all writing exercises. So if you don't want to print the whole book, print these few pages and you can write. So you have a good reference and you're able to start practicing. And here they're saying, look, lahid means take note and repeat. On the line, you look at that Hamza, when it's like that dal, dhal. Again, dal and dhal. But this is when they joint, and then you've got ra and waw, etc. And you've got uktub fi daira al-harf alladhi tabda'u bihi al-kalima. So the letter that it starts with. So here is alif or Hamza. Here they've got al-harf alladhi tantahi bihi al-kalima, the one that it ends with. So Khalidun ends with a dal, Alhamdu ends with a dal, Wahid ends with a dal. With that, you've taken the first module. You should be able to now at least greet somebody, ask them where they're from, tell them where you're from, ask them how they are, and maybe 1-2 basic questions. Anybody didn't understand or anybody wants to ask when it comes to what we've taken?
What does Aina Mas'amu mean?
Aina
Masma'u.
Masma'u?
I think that was the word.
No, I think you're making a mistake.
Masmukai.
Masmuka means what? Ma and ismuka, your name. Saying masmuka, what's your name?
Right.
Your name. Inshallah, we'll stop there. So for now, we're going to stop here and then we'll carry on after Ramadan. Bi-idhnillah. Tomorrow, if you guys have any questions, whatever you want to ask, you can come tomorrow and you can ask. We'll meet you for a little while.